What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. So in today's video, I just wanted to talk about a pretty hot topic that will continue to be a hot topic, and that is AI and my thoughts on kind of what's going to happen going into the future with AI, especially as a coder and as an actor. So I got my bachelor's degree in computer science with a minor in business, and then I'm also an actor, as I'm sure you've seen some of the content on my channel. So I just wanted to kind of voice some of my thoughts on mainly the way that I think the industry is going to go, particularly the film industry, the movie making industry, because it's a really hot topic. Now with some of these new AI video generators like Sora or Seedance, like there's some pretty great quality videos that are starting to be made. I mean, I'm sure you've all seen the viral video between Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise having the fight over Jeffrey Epstein, or maybe you've seen the new Harry Potter Drip Warts trailer. Fucking hilarious, hilarious content. And I kind of just want to talk about, well, what are my thoughts and what are my feelings regarding it, especially as someone in the computer science space, but also someone in the acting space. So first and foremost, when AI video started first coming out, right? It was really terrible quality. There's that famous video of Will Smith eating pasta, and we all saw how terrible and grainy and rigid and everything that it looked when it first came out. And then we've seen the progression since just 2021 of AI and the video generation capabilities, and we see that now it looks extremely realistic. They're starting to get micro expressions in the face. They're starting to add just more detail. They're mapping the mouth movement a lot better to audio. So it's really starting to pick up, and it's starting to get really good to the point where you really have to start questioning what's real and what's fake. And there's a lot of strategies to kind of help people determine what an AI video looks like, or how to determine what an AI video looks like compared to a real video based on duration of clips, because it's really expensive to generate AI video. It is you see a lot of quick cutting between different frames or between different shots in videos, and also just continuity's been an issue in a lot of these AI videos. So there were ways to determine kind of like an AI video from a real video, and also just quality of video was another thing, because quality of video for earlier AI video generation models was pretty shit, right? Like as we saw with the Will Smith clip. So that is how we used to be able to determine AI video. But now, as we can see, literally, I just think about the Harry Potter Drip Warts trailer, which was such a funny fucking video. And I just see how realistic that looks, and based off of not a ton of training data too, right? Like they got the actual actors pretty spot on for the new Harry Potter series that hasn't even come out yet. Like we've seen the trailer, and it still managed to get their faces and everything, and it managed to map those faces to the actual video that was being created, which is pretty impressive, right? Because we know that in order to train an AI model, it requires a ton of data. But a lot of these models, these video models, are now able, because they've been trained so well, they are able to pick up on new data and apply it pretty readily and also pretty accurately. So it's really interesting to see the progression of AI over just such a short period of time. And when AI video started first coming out, I was like, there's no way this is going to be a problem. It's not going to be a problem because all the issues that I just outlined earlier. But then now that I'm watching these videos and I'm like, wow, these are really realistic. And then there's always the excuse of, well, it's expensive to generate AI videos, so there's no way they're going to start developing feature-length films. So films are going to be safe because these models they can only generate like 5 seconds at a time. Well, we've seen how quickly 5 seconds at a time can be expanded. And also, if you think about just the way that videos are in today's day and age, is due to short form content, like our attention spans are so short that even movies, there was this Joe Rogan episode with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, and they mentioned that even the way that you have to cut movies now, the way you have to tell stories in long form, that is being altered due to short form because people have such short attention spans. You need to keep them engaged, right? So a lot of the beginning of movies need to be a lot more engaging, and they need to be able to keep your attention, keep you hooked. And a big problem with the way that that's gone and the way attention spans have shrunk is it doesn't really matter, I don't think, anymore if you do or do not can or cannot generate long form content with AI, because you can just splice together a bunch of AI clips and it really won't be a big deal. So the actual short clip problem really isn't a relevant argument for why AI video won't kind of take over, human man-made video. And I think about so much the brain rot content that is consumed on these short form platforms, these short form video platforms like TikTok or even Reels or, you name it. A lot of it is pretty stupid content, right? That's these short 30-second to 60-second clips that are like spliced together, and whether they're skits or whether they're this or that, it's very short term, it's very short form content. So I think about that and I think, well, AI is capable of doing a lot of that. And quite frankly, a lot of the content we consume now is short form. So with the ability AI even has now, it's, I feel like the main people who are going to be affected by this are actually short form creatives. Because think about let's just go back to the example of the Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise fight. That is a short form content that I want to say that was like a 2-minute video. Well, maybe even less. But that video, think about how many people spent 2 minutes watching that video. That is tons and tons of time, thousands of hours, maybe millions of hours. I don't know how many people saw it, but so many hours that were just on that single AI video. Think about the Harry Potter video. So think about these videos and how many eyeballs are consumed, how much time from people is consumed with these. And then think back to, I don't know if they're still relevant, but I know a big thing back when AI video was first taking off was the Yeti vlogger, right? They were stupid fucking videos, but I can't even tell you how many hours I wasted just watching these, just how stupid they were. Or any of this other AI brain rot. So I do think that AI video is going to have a serious effect on filmmakers and on creatives and on users and on like influencers, because of the fact that AI video is so good now, and people who don't want to put their face on camera are able to just type in a prompt, refine it, and then generate the video that they are wanting to make. And then now everyone has a voice. But I don't think that AI video generation is going to be the end for influencers, filmmakers, any human who makes video. And why do I say that? Well, do I think that AI is going to be able to create cooler videos, and it will be able to create whatever kind of video you want just like that with just a simple prompt? Absolutely, I do. So it's going to be able to way more easily be able to create content based off of just putting a prompt into a box. And quite frankly, humans will never be able to have that kind of efficiency, because you can't generate that Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise video without having to put in hours and hours of work into setting up the set, getting the lighting correct, getting the mic set up, then not to mention everything around them, probably in a sound stage, because you need the green screen to put them in this city unless you're actually going to go onto a roof and do this. There's a lot of manual processes that are required to make a film. Being an actor, I can tell you, filmmaking is not an efficient craft if you want to make it look good. You think about all the people that are involved in filmmaking. You think about the gaffers. You think about the lighting specialist. You think about the director. You think about the actors. You think about all these people who have to come together collaboratively to make this video. essentially, to tell this story. And think about and the amount of shots that it takes to actually get the shot, the amount of shots that it takes to get a scene. It's really inefficient. And that, if you could just basically make all of that with AI, why wouldn't you, right? Save you time and save the creatives money. Now, it's not saving the AI companies money because video generation is extremely expensive, which might be a reason, or at least it might be a temporary hindrance to keeping AI from taking over film and taking over videos completely, because it is just so damn expensive for these companies to do it. But it is going to be a huge disruption. And the way I see it going is the following. I think AI in and of itself is a phenomenal tool. I don't see it as being the end-all be-all, though. I think there's a lot of fear porn out there about AI taking over everything. AI taking over jobs, AI taking over film, AI taking over art. Do I think that AI will be able to do those things quicker than humans? Absolutely, yes. But do I think that AI is going to 100% take people's jobs away and kill film entirely and kill basically everything humans have ever done? No. Why do I think that? Because in order for AI to work, in order for AI to continue to generate new ideas, it has to go based off of the data that the model was trained on. There needs to continuously be new content, new information that's fed so that these models can continue to learn. AI is not going to, as far as I have been able to tell, come up with new and innovative ideas that haven't already been discovered at some point that the model was trained on, and that's why it's coming up with this information, with this new knowledge. Because at some point, all it's doing is extrapolating data from some source that may have been buried deep under tons and tons and tons of information, and it's just bringing that back up and creating that new idea. But it's really humans that are we're the ones who create these ideas. AI can help you build a business 100%, and it can help you in a manner that is extremely efficient and fast. But you still have to be the one to come up with a business idea. And you still have to be the one to execute or to create a plan, devise a business plan to execute your business on. With a film, you have to be the one to come up with an idea. Sure, you can prompt AI. You can ask AI, like, hey, give me some fun film ideas. Give me some AI ideas and write me a script to do it and write me a script to tell this story. And guess what? It's going to be able to do that 100%. But it's going to take that human creativity and the human prompt in order to create it, to initiate the process. I think AI is going to be a tool more than anything else. And what I think it's going to do, especially in the film industry that this video is being mainly created for, is I think AI isn't going to completely take away all of film jobs. And it's not going to completely take away the human element of filmmaking. But what I think it's going to do is it's going to democratize it more. It's going to make it so that more voices are able to be heard. Right now, the barrier to entry into the film world, into legacy Hollywood, into, getting on one of these big production, big blockbuster movies, it's a really high barrier to entry. A lot of it is based on things you can't control, like your look, things like your connections, things like your height, your eye color, your hair, things that you can't control. And the excuse is always, there's always a role for everyone. Do I believe that there are roles for a lot of people? Yes, but I was having this conversation a couple days ago that a lot of the film industry, the legacy way of doing it, is out of your control. A lot of it is really hard to get in because of the fact you can't control if a casting director likes you. You can't control even if a casting director likes you, if the producers like you. There's so much that is out of your control as an actor in the film industry that really hinders you from making progress. And what I think the main thing that AI is going to help with is AI is going to make it a lot easier to make a big budget looking production without having to actually have the money or the resources to do it. I think AI is going to get to the point where it's only going to take a few people to make a film. I think you're going to need to come up with the idea. You're going to need to write it, or at least have AI help you write it, but then refine it, because no one wants to watch AI shit, right? I mean, we all know AI writing. AI writing is super easy to pick out, and everyone knows how to do it. And everyone can sense when it's something that's not, it doesn't feel right. Hence why a lot of vertical shorts are super cheesy and people lose interest because they don't sound like they're written by a human, because most of the time they're not. But I do think it's going to make it a lot easier for filmmakers to make films with less people and less money. Think about the potential. If you could come up with the fight scene between Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise with just a few prompts, what do you think you're going to be able to do if you're able to just take yourself, maybe film a few scenes with you, clone yourself into a movie, or clone yourself into a character, and then use that character in a movie, and you could have yourself doing things that you would never be able to do without a ton of money, right? You could easily have AI take your face and then just plaster it on some avatar's body, and then you could have it doing a bunch of Tom Cruise looking stunts without having to have a helicopter or a plane or a rocket or whatever it is. So I think AI is going to democratize the process. It's going to make it easier for people to be able to make these bigger budget looking productions without having the actual money. But on the flip side, I do know, yes, it is going to take jobs, and it is going to take opportunities that, quite frankly, people are going to lose out on. And that right there is nothing that should be ignored, because people will lose jobs. People will be displaced. So I think, to kind of wrap this up, the way I see AI going is AI is going to be a helper more than anything. It's definitely going to be a disruption in the film industry and in the content creation industries. And it is going to make people have to find new occupations, especially in, certain areas of the film industry. But I also think it empowers more voices to be heard. It allows a more diverse set of voices to reach a broader audience at a higher quality. And I think it's really going to lower the barrier of entry into making content and to making films. I think a lot more independent projects are going to start being put out there. But with that, I think there's also going to be a lot more saturation in the market, because so many more people are going to have access to these tools. It's really going to make it saturated. So, only a few videos are going to really stand out. And just like in the flood of information that we currently have today, I think that it's just going to get worse. And I think things are also just going to stay relevant for less time. And just like in today's social media landscape, a video blows up and then it's gone in a few days or a week. Headlines last a lot shorter than they used to. So, do I think AI is going to be at the end all be all? No. Do I think it's going to make filmmaking, the process of actually making films as humans with human crews, more of a niche? Yes. I think the way I like to think about it is, I think filmmaking, the art form of filmmaking, and I do believe it is an art form. It is. You're storytelling. You're collaboratively storytelling. Everyone has a part to play. I think it's going to become a niche like painting. People appreciate artwork. Unfortunately, a lot of good artwork goes under the radar. But people appreciate artwork, and I think the really impactful pieces of art that resonate with the most people are the ones that stand out, and the ones that really make an impact on people. And I think that's going to be the same way with filmmaking. I think it's going to become more of a niche category, but I don't believe it's going to be completely erased, and I don't think it's going to be completely taken over. I do believe, though, that if you do not adapt and you don't learn how to use some of these new tools, and you don't kind of stay ahead of the curve, then I do think it's going to be easier to be left behind. And with that, you just have to stay up to date with all the tools. Never stop learning, never stop growing, and never stop creating. Those are just a few thoughts I had on kind of where I'm at with the industry, where I think it's potentially going, because I do again believe that there's a lot of fear porn. There's a lot of information out there that says AI is going to displace all humans, and we're all going to have to live on some social safety net, and we're all going to be out of work and this and that. And quite frankly, I think a lot of it's bullshit. I think a lot of it is fear porn to get people's attention, because, what grabs attention better than fear? Scaring people is quite literally the best way to get their attention. You scare people, and then you say that you know what's going to happen and you know how the future is going to unravel, it gives people, I think, a sense of comfort. And I think you just need to really take information in from multiple sources, and also just stay up to date, because just like anything else, like if you didn't catch up, like if you didn't use technology when it first started coming out, and you didn't learn how to use a computer, and you didn't learn how to use like some of those tools, then guess what? You fell behind, right? If you did everything analog and then the computers came out, and then the computers, you still have to learn new skills to use computers, and you didn't learn those, then guess what? You're going to be out of a job, because you have to stay up to date with technology. And to me, AI is all it is technology. That's all it is at the end of the day. I think a lot of people see it as this big, scary black box, but it's an evolution of technology that I think we're still trying to understand. But I think it's just a helper, and you decide how you want to use it. And you decide if you want to be scared by it, and you want to not use it out of rebellion and then fall behind, or you decide that it is just a tool, it's just a technology that you can use to your advantage so that you don't fall behind. So it's up to you, but those are my thoughts, and thanks for watching. See ya.